Welcome to the She Births Show, a place to inspire your birth, evolve your parenting, and help you live a life you love. I'm Nadine Richardson, your host and creator of the scientifically verified birth education program, She Births. I'm also a mother, yoga teacher, doula, author, and speaker. At She Births, we have supported thousands of families around the world for over 13 years with our unique program, and our vision is to make birth better for every family around the world so that everyone experiences a beautiful birth no matter what unfolds. Not only do we help people have beautiful births, but we also give them the skills and the philosophy to enjoy pregnancy and make parenting easier. As well as our world-class birth ed, taken either face-to-face or online in our app, we also have a free pregnancy guide designed to help you feel calm, connected, and inspired as you and your baby grow. We have a doula matching service, the perfect way to ensure you and your partner are completely supported throughout the whole journey. And we have our Soul Mama Circles, which are the perfect postpartum network to help optimize your mindset and design your life in parenthood. Remember, if you like what you hear today, subscribe, share with a friend, and leave us a review. If you're a parent, about to be one, fellow health professional, join us now for an inspirational deep dive into topics with experts around the globe. We hope you enjoy this special episode. Hello and welcome to a very special two-part birth story podcast with parents Corinne and Andy, who have 3 little girls under the age of 2. In a sense, this podcast is 3 birth stories, all with a lot of change, flux and challenge, also with a lot of power, agency and triumph. In this first episode, we talk about the care and support received at midwifery practice Nest on the South Coast for the birth of their first daughter, Navy. In our second episode, which is also live now, we share the story of navigating the birth of twins within the hospital system. After being told that a C-section was best by 2 hospitals, then told that an epidural was essential if a vaginal birth was attempted, Corinne and Andy managed to have a beautiful natural birth of double breech babies under the care of Professor Andrew Bisits. It's an incredibly rare birth story indeed. So in today's episode, we're going to talk about birthing in a regional area and those long labour drives to the hospital, doing your own vaginal exams and knowing when to get into the car, how education changes the role of our partner for birth, playing music to our babies during pregnancy, how birth can be like getting tickets to a great footy game, how birth is incredibly healing, and the power of claiming and owning our mind-body connection after a history of anxiety, doing the work and turning inwards and using visualizations, creating a birth circle and knowing what they give you, transition and the natural calling we feel into our new identity, and the embodied process from maiden to mother. We cover a lot, and I hope you enjoy. Don't forget to subscribe and share with anyone that you think needs support and inspiration to create a beautiful birth. Corinne and Andy, welcome to the She Births Show.
Thank you. Excited to be here.
I'm so honored that I'm getting a precious lunchtime while both your babies are sleeping, and you're going to share with us all your journey and your amazing hero's journey, both of you, where you've been and how you've got here. It's just so epic. I'm really honored that you're going to share with us.
Oh, thank you. No, we're really excited, and hopefully the girls will have a good snooze for us, so we can get into it.
I did see a photo the other day on social, and I think it was you, Andy, asleep on the floor in front of the monitor.
Oh yeah, I think
there was something.
Yeah, I saw something.
We've been trying to get the girls to learn how to self-settle, just to make life a little bit easier, as we've got our toddler Navy as well. So it's been a busy 2 weeks. We're both feeling it, but we're finding our feet.
You're finding your feet, and at the moment you're kind of feeding both girls like 3 times a night each.
Yes, yeah. So that's minimum 6 weeks for me. So yeah, three feeds each that's a good night for me at the moment. So yeah, very different to the journey of having a single barb. But they're great, and now they're giving us smiles and giggles and giving a lot back. So it makes it all worthwhile.
It makes it worthwhile, and I bet Navy's in love with them as well.
Oh, she is. She's such a fantastic, big sister, and she's going through a lot as well. She's just turned 2, so we're experiencing a lot of big emotions.
Big girl undies.
Yes, the big girl. We're doing all that all at once with two babies.
So it's all happening.
Wow! Please tell me you're both off work. Are you both off work or not?
So I'm off work, and Andy's fortunate enough to be doing part-time. So he's home 2 days a week to help out. And that's just, we just need that extra pair of hands whenever we can. So we're very lucky. We're both living, near our family. So we have a lot of extra pair of hands, and Andy's family is quite big.
So lots of hands to
help out. So we're very fortunate.
And you live out of the city too, which I think is a conscious choice for you guys to sort of.
Yes, yeah. So we've been we were both living in Sydney for quite a few years. Andy over 10 years, and we were lucky enough. Andy scored a job on the South Coast, which means that we were able to move back down with our families. And thank goodness, because then the twins came along, and so we need that support circle there.
And Navy and marriage, and so it's been a big 2 years.
Wow.
We've been doing it all. We did it all in 2 years. Yeah. So
wow, that's so epic. That's so beautiful. Well, why don't we start with tell me a little bit about Navy's birth and what model of care you had and how that experience was for you guys.
Yeah. So at that time, we were both living in Sydney, in Randwick, and Navy was a surprise. That was October 2020. So that happened. And I think I joked to you about this when I did yoga with you in Bondi, was that I actually knew before I met Andy that when I was, it was my time to become a mother and go on that journey of pregnancy, I already knew about she birth. So I knew I was birthing with she birth before I actually met my husband. And so Navy, we found out we're pregnant with Navy, and that was super exciting. And I'd already, I knew that type of that birth, that journey that I wanted to go on through, knowing all about she birth. We looked into the hospital. I wanted to do the midwifery group, and I was very lucky to get a position there at Randwick Hospital in the midwifery group. So just to have, that continuity of care, I really knew that was important for me in our birth.
And also, I guess, the feedback from a lot of friends that experienced that there. They spoke quite highly of the care that was there through that group, and also the connections that you make with those other mothers and stuff. So, we were just around the corner from Randwick Hospital, so kind of made sense at that point.
Yeah, and I guess the plan was, to hopefully have a home birth with her as well through that model of care. Then things changed. Andy had a position down on the South Coast. So that means that we had to relocate. And that was, the relocation looked like it was around, maybe I would have been about 30 weeks pregnant. Oh, wow. So, I had to, decide where I was going to birth on the South Coast. Where we are now, there's 2 hospitals, and they're both 50 minutes from us.
Wow.
So that was hard, because I was really happy going into the midwifery group and, hoping to have a home birth. So we did our research, and we actually came across a private midwifery group called the Nest of Maria, 3 midwives on the South Coast. So I contacted them and I said, I'm so desperate. I'll be 30, around the 30 weeks when I move down, and I really want to have that continuity of care, and I hope you have a spot available. And we had a chat to Claire. We met her on the phone, and they were able to take me on, and it was amazing. Like, that was exactly what we wanted. We chatted about doing a home birth, where we didn't really, I guess, first time being pregnant and going through the birthing experience. We felt a little bit anxious about being, 50 minutes from either hospital in case we did have to go during the birth. Yeah. But luckily enough, the Nest had this beautiful little cottage down at Maria, which is 2 minutes from the hospital, Maria Hospital, where you could go and birth and still have that home birth style. Yeah. So we went and visited, and it literally just felt like walking into your nan's home. It was so beautiful, and this old school cottage, and just such a lovely setup. So yeah, that's the path we went down for Navy. Yeah. So
we just need more of those little birthing centre cottages, next door to hospitals and
that's it.
Regional areas. But near it, that's what the birth centre used to be like at RPA. It was so cute. Doesn't feel like that anymore, and cultures change over time, but it would be so good if there was more of those. That's what we want.
Yeah.
You felt really comfortable with that care, and how did the birth go with Navy?
It was amazing. Yeah, so we still travelled up because we were booked in to do our she birth course. I think we did that around about, I must have been maybe 34 weeks, 34, wow. 36. Yeah. So we travelled up and we did our weekend course, which was absolutely, amazing. I was so excited to do it, and obviously to take Andy along as well, because, I knew your philosophies, and, it was just nice to actually have Andy to really sit down and spend that time going through your work. And
I think just to have both, I guess, having that knowledge and being aligned with what we both wanted for that birthing experience. Obviously, nothing is guaranteed with however it all goes, but there was comfort in learning those new skills and breathing techniques. And for me, as the male, being quite hands-on and quite active in terms of that, learning that knowledge and practicing some of those skills. So, there's also a level of empowerment for the male to be part of that, and not just a bystander or tag along or a plus one. I guess I felt more comfortable because I had, more knowledge about, the techniques and strategies and what we need to do when. So I think that put Corinne a little bit more at ease as well, because I guess we connected on that level a bit more. So
yeah, that's right. Absolutely.
And we really, we went into Navy's birth just so ready. We were so excited and
pumped. Yeah. I think I was Corinne had to keep telling me to slow down when she had the tender machine on, and because I was just I was too excited, and I was like, you just worry about what's going on, and I'll slow down.
That's so cute.
It was a bit of almost like kick off to a grand final. So
you're so cute.
We were very blessed with Navy's birth. I guess my contractions started, I think we were 2 days off 40 weeks, I think 39 and 5 days. And it was really magical. And so I think it was around about midday, we're both laying in the winter sun, and I started to get a little bit of bloody show, and I was just so excited. I remember texting my midwife Claire going, it's happening, and it was pretty much just textbook. My the contractions were quite consistent, and we still, just tried to relax. We went to the local football. We had dinner, pizza with...
you went to a footy game in pre-labour?
We actually did with our family, and no one out was sitting around our family watching the football, and I was secretly timing the contractions, and no one knew but us. And I'm looking at Andy going, "Yep, this is happening."
Yeah. I love that.
And went home, and we had pizza with the family, and I could really feel them vamping up. And I just, funnily enough, and Andy's dad walked through.
Really bizarre.
He walked through the door and looked at me, and he said, "This baby's coming." He goes, "I just walking through the door, I just had this feeling." And I found that really, and funnily enough, it was his birthday. So Navy and him share a birthday.
Oh, so beautiful.
So really special. And he's like, "I don't know what it is. I've just walked through the door and I have this feeling like this baby's on the way." And we just, we looked at each other. We didn't say anything because I didn't want, everyone to get excited and kind of get me out of my groove. So, but yeah, we found that very, really interesting. So, so then we just did, tried to relax, went downstairs, just did some yoga. We put on a funny movie and just relaxed and cuddled. I think around maybe 8 p.m. we said, "Look, let's hop into bed and try and get some sleep." I think Andy was, out cold snoozing within 2 minutes. And I'm just trying to, relax in the bed. I got up and just did some more stretching. And I think around maybe 11 o'clock, 11 or midnight, I just said, I think it's time. I was really ready to have, Claire with me. So we packed the bags. We started the drive down. I was actually glad this was all kind of kicking off at night, because it is a 50-minute drive.
To get from Mollymook down to Maruya.
So, and I actually remember in the car calling my my friend who actually had her bub 24 hours the night before.
Wow.
And I was like, I just need some sort of inspiration. Just, what did you do? Give me something. And she said, every wave, just, I just envisioned my cervix opening. So that was me. That was what worked for me. Every wave, I just, I went in and, spoke to my cervix and opening and relaxing. And I had my affirmations there, and
that's so beautiful. I just want to pull you up on the 50-minute drive thing, because more and more now that I'm teaching more up in Byron and Queenslanders and stuff like that, so many people are worried about this time of when to go to hospital, when you got like a 45-minute drive and so on. I always say there's like a feeling, there's a knowing, you can't go by the clock. And is that what it felt like?
That's it. Yeah. Well, interestingly enough, I guess when during the day, I kept texting my midwife saying, "Claire, when am I meant to come down?" And, she said, "You will know." And interestingly enough, talking to other friends who have had their babies, they said, "You'll just know." And it did. It just, I laying in bed and like walking around the room when Andy was sleeping, I felt, I was able to go through the motions, breathe through each contraction. And then there was a moment where I needed someone else from my circle. I was ready to bring Claire in and just have that support, that next layer. Yeah. And I just knew, and I just, woke Andy up going, I'm ready to be near Claire. And it wasn't a fear or anything like that, but it was just, I was just ready to have that my extra support person there with me.
The intensity of the, just from me kind of watching the intensity of the contractions kind of got great. And so just from picking up on Corinne's cues and responses, it was, and then she's like, let's go. I was like, bags are already in the car.
You're ready. You're a good daddy, Julie. You were sorted.
That's it. Yeah. But, and I remember pulling up at the cottage, and Claire.
Hang on, wait a minute. What position were you in the car? How did you sit in the car?
So that was an interesting drive, because I was paranoid that Andy would be speeding. I didn't want him to speed. So I remember, closing my eyes and going through my mantras and, feeling my cervix opening and breathing, doing my, big belly breaths, the 10 in, 10 out, and knowing, halfway, okay, I'm halfway, I'm on my way out, all of that. It was just, on repeat. But then as soon as I would come out of a wave, I would look at the speedometer and be like, Andy, your speed, like, slow down. And obviously South Coast and the winding roads, I was, paranoid about a kangaroo jumping out, and, I had all these scenarios. I just needed to get down there. So, so I was leaning forward. I had my seatbelt on. I think at one point maybe I had my legs up on the dashboard a little bit.
Yeah, I think there was a bit of movement. There was movement happening.
I think just through it, I really needed to, just lean forward, and I had the TENS machine on. I popped that on once we entered the car, and
perfect.
Yeah. So it was an uncomfortable ride, but no, we got through.
You did it.
Yeah.
Beautiful. And now for a quick break. At She Births, we believe that pregnancy, birth, and matrescence, the sacred postpartum, is an awesome rite of passage. Our free holistic pregnancy guide offers you 6 months of weekly support. Drop straight into your inbox, or within our free She Births app, you can get content that will nourish your body, mind, and soul. You can enjoy prenatal yoga videos, great recipes, birth affirmations, course discounts, and more. From me and my team, the creator of the world's only scientifically verified antenatal classes, it is our gift to you. Sign up today and receive the free holistic pregnancy guide at shebirths.com/PG. That's shebirths.com/PG. Sorry, so what happened when you arrived?
I remember getting there, and Claire came out and she said, "How's it going?" And I said, "Oh, these contractions suck like balls." I think that's what I said. And she said, "Perfect. Like, that's exactly what I want to hear. You're on the roll. That's great." And just her saying that, it was just this, not like there was no fear. It was like, perfect. Like, that's exactly what should be happening. And I just felt this calm, and I was like, it was so great just to be in her presence.
Yeah.
We walked in and I could hear, the pool being filled up. So it was that beautiful water sound, and she had the dim lights, and we plugged in our salt lamp from home, and what else did we have? We put on our music,
some affirmations.
Yeah. Obviously the music we picked, we put time and effort into putting our playlist together. It was a bit from your She Birth playlist.
We actually used that, a lot of those songs from that playlist. We used that probably for the first year with Navy. Just every time we'd go to sleep at night time,
we'd put it on and put it close to my belly. And so, she knew the music that she was coming out to, she was familiar with and comfortable. So, so look, and really we got there at probably around 1 o'clock in the morning, and she arrived just 5:20. So, I guess when we got there, we set ourselves up. And Andy and I just, moved about, and we did our positions. And I remember Claire saying, I remember asking her, how long do you feel like I have? And she said, well, you're still too nice to Andy, so I think you've got a little bit more to go. And I was like, really? Like, what am I meant to turn into? Like this raging banshee? And later on I did understand, because I remember Andy would touch me. I'd be like, just leave me alone. Don't touch. So it was funny how she said that. But I remember just, we did a bit on the floor, and Andy would sit on the couch by the pool, and I'd do some surges, laying back in between his legs and just resting in between. And then they picked up, and I think it was Claire that suggested, I was getting a little bit, uncomfortable and couldn't really find a comfortable position. So Claire recommended hopping on the toilet, just to change things up a little bit. yeah, so I remember sitting there and Claire was just, kneeling on the floor next to me, and I said, I just want to, maybe I might check to see how far I am myself. So I had a little feel, and I could feel something soft. And like, I feel like there's a little soft balloon there or something, and I don't think that's normally there. And she's like, well, that's probably the head. So she was like, you know what, let's do you want to maybe hop in the pool? So I said, yes, sure. And that was I remember just hopping in the warm water, and that just changed everything. And I just feel like that was my safe zone. And from there, I really turned in. I actually don't know if I opened up my eyes too much. And it was just, Andy and I hugging and kissing on the side of the pool, and
get that oxytocin flowing.
Yeah, that's it. And I do remember looking up, and at times Claire would be just on the floor, sitting down in the doorway, just hugging her knees, just looking, and she was just so calm, and just seeing that. Yeah. She just, someone that just completely trusted the process, and it assured me, just looking at her assured me, and how calm she was, just everything was happening the way it should. And then I recall Ange, my second midwife, rocking up, and funnily enough, when she arrived, I was like, yes, like, my circle's complete. It is time. And I do remember that moment, the transition. I remember, talking about that in the She Birth course, and, how that fear can kind of creep in, and a bit of panic. And it was so evident in my mind, because I remember there was this moment where I panicked, and I felt like, I need my mum and my dad and my sister here. I need to say goodbye to them. I feel like I'm going somewhere.
That's huge.
Yeah, and just this full on, like, I need my family here. I need to say goodbye. Or it was very, very strange, very odd moment. But then I knew, I was like, this is it. I'm here. I'm at the moment. And I remember, Navy's head popping through, and feeling her hair, and it was just
eyes wide open, just looking around.
When her head came through, I remember Claire actually saying she had a head torch on, and she said, "Oh my goodness, she's staring at me." And and it was just, she said, the next, could be a couple more contractions. Don't have to feel like the next one has to be it. But then I was just so excited to meet her. So I was like, nope, she's coming. This is the last one. I knew it. And I could feel her do that last rotation. I was just like, wow, this is just everything just that we learn in the course is happening. And it was pretty cool. She came out, and I caught her, and Claire helped me, bring her through my legs, and I sat back, and that was just, it was just so amazing. And I think we even just forgot to check the sex.
We did. It was probably a minute or two, and they're like, "Oh, do you want to see the gender, the sex?" And we're like, "Oh, sure." It didn't really matter. We were just just filled with elation and joy that it was sitting there. It was Navy was on her chest, and everything was great. And so it was bizarre. We was like, "Oh, it doesn't really matter. Doesn't really matter."
What is she? And then, the girl, and I think we both cried, and we just hugged her. Andy just had his arms around me while we were hugging her in the pool. And then it was time to, hop out, and, snuggled up on the couch. It was a beautiful couch just there beside the pool. And, it was really important for us we really wanted to, which we learnt this in the She Birth course, the crawling up the tummy. We didn't know about that. And we watched the video in your course, and we were just like, wow, like we want to see that. We want to see that,
see it in action.
So
cool, right? Isn't it so cool?
We couldn't believe it. Like, we popped her on my tummy, and it was just, she started doing that crawl and made her way up to the breast, and then, started mouth opening and just, looking for the nipple. And I couldn't believe it. You know, she found it.
Pure instinct.
Yeah.
Hey, it was awesome just to watch it.
And I think,
happen.
I remember, crying and just crying in happiness, just, seeing that. And, that was beautiful. I just remember laying there and, I birthed the placenta and, which was, I heard that maybe that could possibly be painful, but that felt easy for me. And I remember, Ange heating up. I took down some nourishing soup and some toast, and I laid there and had my toast. Angie fed me my soup whilst Navy fed. And I think, the sun had rose, and Claire, checked out Navy, did the checks, and I had that most amazing shower. Oh, the shower afterwards. It was just, this is the best ever. I didn't want to get out. Andy had his snuggles with Navy, and it was just lovely. The sun was up, and Claire tucked the three of us in bed. She showed us how to wrap Navy, and
see you later.
Yeah, she said, see you later. I'm just down the road if you need me. And I think Navy and Andy had the best sleep ever. I didn't. Obviously, I still had all the adrenaline going through me. So I just literally laid there and watched the two of them sleep. And it was beautiful. I think we spent 2 nights there at the cottage. We really wanted to have some time, just the three of us, and getting to know her. And
it was lovely. It was such a lovely setup down there, and they just, it's just really nice care.
Yeah, and we had 6 weeks of care afterwards with Claire, and it was really beautiful. And I just remember that last visit with Claire. I think I cried and thanked her, and oh gosh, I'm getting emotional now. It was just such a positive experience, and it changed me, that birth. I'm always going to I can't talk about it without getting emotional. But that birth really changed me. And I think when I spoke to you when we were talking through my second pregnancy with the twins, I said that, just Navy's birth really changed me and gave me a lot of strength that I didn't realize I had as a person and as a woman. I did, my early 20s, I did suffer quite a bit of, depression and anxiety. And I felt like I was always, a weak person in a sense. And this birth just unlocked this woman in me, and this confidence and strength. So, I'm so grateful for Navy's birth and that experience.
Absolutely. It's so beautiful. You just did so beautifully, Corinne. You just surrendered. You educated, you prepared, you made great choices, and then you just trusted and opened and let go and just allowed the magic of birth to change you, which is what it's all about.
That's it. That's it. And I just think the biggest thing that I realized that how, that birth can really strengthen this, what I learned was this strong mind-body connection. And almost, I met this, I call her just the she, this birthing she, how strong and powerful she is, and just surrendering to her and talking to her. And, I learned through, as you said, just educating myself was, just such an important thing. As soon as I fell pregnant, I started, reading your podcast. I still remember listening to your very first podcast with Sarah Buckley, and I bought her book, and then, moved on to Ina Maeve's book, and then Rhea Dempsey. I read it all, and I think that was definitely just really empowering myself and educating, and spending those months connecting and meditating and visualizing my birth, my positive birth. And I just really believe that was a huge contributor to how I was able to, get through and connect and just trust my body.
Yeah, that's right. And then the gifts that you received as well. I think you're basically saying birth is a healer, it's healing.
Yeah, no, definitely, for sure. And just I didn't realize I would walk away just a completely different woman, and just having this out of, really, I did years of medication, or, seeing psychologists, and really it was my birth, that helped me to, realize the strength that I had in myself.
Oh, the God, that's just like so beautiful. I could burst into tears right now as well.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, I was talking with someone yesterday, there's death in birth. And I think it's so interesting that you, at that moment, that precipice where you're about to go into pushing and actually birth your baby, that feeling that you had to have your family around and tell them that. What did you say? You said, I'm going. Or what was it? You needed your family.
Yeah, I just felt like I was leaving. Yeah.
I was leaving. You are leaving.
And I didn't know whether, like you're right, it was almost like I felt like I was dying in a way, or it was a very odd experience. And I just remember this kind of sense of wanting to have my mum and dad and my sister there to say goodbye. And I remember that makes sense now that you've said it like that. I never really understood what that meant.
Yeah, your identity was dying. The old you was dying. And so when we talk about this rite of passage, like from maiden to mother, so many people go on that journey, but there's not a full embodiment of that transition, We come through and we haven't, been around people like a strong birth circle, or we haven't been fully prepared, and we go through these conveyor belt experiences in hospitals where our power is just taken away from us. Whereas what we need for birth is people to keep giving power back to you, reminding you how powerful, trusting birth so that you can go through the process of transformation.
Yeah.
And it is a dying of the old for every woman.
Yeah.
She really can allow that to happen. And that is a completion of the rite of passage. And I think, you discovering your power, which is what we talked about in your second pregnancy with the twins, which we should go into, because I really think intuition and power, like these are two of the greatest gifts that we get from birth.
Yeah. Well, and I think that was it. I was, experiencing Navy's birth. I was so excited to fall pregnant again and go through that rite of passage again. And I really loved doing the work leading up to Navy's birth. And I was almost excited to do that, because doing the work and, doing those months of turning in and listening and tuning into, that I just call her the she, like the birthing she.
Talk about the she, she. Hey, maybe we should pause on the she, and I should ask Andy, because I've been wanting to ask you, how was it for you watching Corinne go through that process?
It was pretty wild, to be honest. Yeah, it was. I use the word wild. That experience. But just
watching me, meditate and do yoga and lay in the sun.
That was pretty comfortable doing that.
Yeah.
I guess in terms of specifically about the preparing, or about the birth, like the actual birthing itself, Nadine.
Yeah, more about that birth, because I think it's such a big leap for men to come into the birthing space, and it's a lot. Like, you do a 2-day course, and and you're in, right?
Yeah,
and you're off.
I definitely had to do watch the videos again and write my summary notes and things. So I had my little dot points and highlighters out, being teachers that we are. In terms of the birthing itself, it was just amazing, really, having this private little cottage, and such great care down there with the team, with Claire and Ange there. But I think that just gave Corinne just a real sense of comfort and knowledge that we're in a really safe place. And from the start, you wanted to have a water birth, so that was really important that could happen, because I knew that was something that Corinne wanted very much so from the start. So it was pretty full on, and I guess the noises that Corinne was producing. But I remember, and I was kind of running back and forward to the kitchen just in getting some nice cold washer on her or a forehead and her back because she was just really hot. So that was pretty much a lot of my role was doing that once we were right in amongst it when Corinne was in the pool. And it was all happening. But, yeah, vividly remember, Claire just before it got to the point, she just pulls a little head torch on. I looked up and you could see the light come on because it was quite dark. We had a little lava lamp and stuff going on. So, and just saw that little light come on. I went, okay, it's business time. And then pretty quickly, Navy's head popped out and eyes open and just looked around. And Ange and Claire were like, that is one of the most alert babies we've seen in years. And we're taking photos and got some footage of it. And it's really, I guess it's awesome that we can have those photos and footage to go back and reflect on as well, because it just totally amazed me how Corinne's body worked. But the build up was just so safe and comfortable in the knowledge that we had and the preparation. A lot of the preparation that Corinne did leading into that. So I felt I was involved in the process, and I think that was really important for us. It definitely, adds another layer to your relationship as well. It was just amazing, like just to see what she went through to give birth to our beautiful little Navy girl. That just astounds me. Like it was just amazing. It was amazing.
Oh, I can hear how much love is there and how much it changes. Like I think our love with our partners when we go through a healthy birth, it deepens. There's so much respect that we have then for each other in these powerful roles. Both roles are so powerful.
And that's it. And I think it's, really important too that, partners are educated as well. And, because it is very much, for us, it was very much I know I did most of the work, but I felt like it was a team effort. And, I was so conscious about, who I wanted in my circle and also what they could bring to me. And, you do lean on, throughout the labour, you do lean on your partner, especially, perhaps, during the time of transition, just to remind, this is it, this is the transition. And, Andy would, there was times where, I wasn't doing the breathing and them knowing that you weren't and just sensing and, doing the counting for you. That's, it's so important that you've got that person there to be able to, center you and bring you back.
Absolutely. So beautiful. Well, let's take a breath. I need to have a breather and a stretch.
Yeah.
We're here we go, because now we're going to talk about your birth with the twins, but also should we talk about the wild woman or should we talk about her more in your pregnancy? What do you feel?
I guess, I met her during Navy's pregnancy, and
how did you meet her? Was it in a connection with your body? Was it in a place in your body? Is it
it definitely, it was during, doing the guided meditations through She Birth, but also to, and I met her, during the birth, and I, walked away going, wow, there's this really, strong woman inside of me, and this she, and I found it fascinating that you could, you just had to surrender to her, and there's this thing inside you that, you just have to surrender, and, she does the work. And after Navy's birth, I actually decided to do a bit of work or do a bit of a course exploring the chakras. And this is where, I was introduced to the base chakra and, exploring this wild woman almost. And I realized, well, for me, this was the woman who I met during Navy's birth. And, she was, a strong, strong female that, nothing fazed her, and she was an ox. And that was one of my mottos during Navy's birth, or both of my births, through each wave. I would tell myself, I'm an ox, I'm an ox.
Wow.
Yeah. So it wasn't until, I explored her a little bit further doing this course that, I had this confidence of this, this female inside of me, this wild woman.
What does she look like? What does she look like or smell like? Or is she just like an enigma? Or is
she was, for me, I remember doing a meditation one time and just this calm confidence, and just this smile that just, always said, the smile just seemed to say like, nothing can affect me, nothing can impact me, and I know what I'm capable of. And I guess, I was excited to go through the pregnancy again. When we found out I was pregnant, I was just so excited to take that time because, life is busy. And there's something about doing the work through your pregnancy, and stopping and turning in, where I knew I was going to, be able to spend some time with her again and go through that process.
Yeah.
And, unfortunately, the experience I had with the twins, different, pregnancy and my experience with the hospital, it was hard. There was a blur and a disconnect, and I really had to work extremely hard to keep listening to her voice because it was, really blinded by, our experience with the hospital.
I'm Nadine Richardson, and you've been listening to the She Births Show. If you've enjoyed this episode, please subscribe, share with a friend, and leave us a review. We'd love to know what you would like to hear more of. You can find me and my team of amazing doulas and educators at shebirths.com and our awesome community on Instagram and Facebook. Within any good app store, you can download our free pregnancy guide via She Births, 2 separate words and plural, as well as access our range of online courses. Remember, when it comes to having a better birth, an easier transition into parenthood, your education is your empowerment. Don't forget to check out the catalogue of previous podcasts, and thank you for tuning in today. I hope you enjoyed the show.